Hello friends, I'm Angie.
I'm Michelle.
And we're Blue Heavens. In today's video, we're going to go over Exodus.
So we're going to go over the first part of Exodus because Exodus is a long
story.
And so we want to give it justice because it's so important and it also reflects what's going on in today's society.
Yes. It's like we're going through a new Exodus.
We're going through a new Exodus. So we kind of wanted to go take Exodus, which is a wonderful lesson in the story, and talk about a great leader like Moses, because we could use some great leaders like Moses.
Yes.
So we wanted to go and bring a new take to Exodus.
Yeah. Bring it into our world. How does it relate to us? How can we learn from it today? How can we get more people with us to cross the Red Sea?
Exactly, and we can do that. So this is what we're going to. That's what we want to wish to bring to you people, and bring people to think.
Yes.
And that in today's society.
Yeah.
Because it does have a lot to do with today's society.
In all our videos, we want you to think.
That's really what we want you to do, is think. Yes.
So let's start and shed divine light on the story of Exodus.
Let's do it.
All right. So God's chosen people are named Israel, or the Hebrew people.
Right. And
the Egyptians at the time were afraid of losing their power to the growing Hebrew tribe, which contained...
Well, this is Lokaous. You had to remember there would have been, after it's been 400 years since Joseph has been Pharaoh, and his family had been there, and all the families, and now by this is in 400 years now, and they would have been like 1.5 million people. The reason they know this is in the Bible they had to take count in the tribes of people. There was 600,000 men, so they had to take it with the men and how it would have been for the people, the families. So that is how they've estimated 1.5 million to possibly 2 million people. Wow. 50 babies born a day as well.
That's insane.
And that.
So God's tribe is growing, and it's including all kinds of races of people. It includes everybody.
But Pharaoh now does not remember Joseph, doesn't recognize it, and now he's getting outpopulated by the Israelites. They're the chosen people, and he knows this.
Yes.
And he's getting a little fearful. They're going to outdo what he has.
So he instructs harder labor on the tribe of Israel. They go into slavery for Pharaoh and his people, and the slave owners are really terrible to the people of Israel. They work really hard labor on bricks and mortar and just hard things through all hours of the day. They don't really get breaks.
No, they would not have gotten breaks. He did everything he possibly could to make him just miserable people. Just miserable. Yes.
And at the time, he was sick of the growing tribe of Israel, so the Egyptian Pharaoh ordered death to all baby boys to be drowned in the Nile River.
But he told the nannies at the time that were delivering the children, when they have a baby boy, kill it in the Nile, drown it. But if it is a girl, the girl may live.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
It is. But the maids that would do this listened to the Lord, and they would let them all live, and they would tell the Pharaoh when he saw that it wasn't happening the way he thought. Well, they would say they lied, but they lied for, I feel, a good purpose here. And they lied and so they would have them before we even got there. But they were protecting for the Lord's name.
Yeah.
This is something better, and they were favored for that.
Yeah. So one Hebrew woman took her baby, about 3 months old, put him in a basket, and the older sister of the baby watched as the basket went down the river, and it floated to Pharaoh's daughter.
Right.
Pharaoh's daughter knew it was a Hebrew baby.
Right.
And she took compassion upon the child. So she wanted it for herself. And the older sister saw all this and went over to her and was like, I can help you find someone to nurse this baby for you.
Which was the mom. And that took guts on the little girl to do that.
It did.
Protecting her brother from the very beginning. So that took guts.
It did. And it reminds me of what Joseph said in Genesis 50:20, because it's like a reflection of what's happened to Joseph.
Right.
You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives.
Right, and that's what Moses...
That's Moses.
And think about that. He is in a basket. We're also representing like Noah's Ark.
Oh,
absolutely. Noah's Ark as well. And he was representing, what did Noah do? He brought in a new beginning from everything. So Moses will be bringing that new beginning in his life. So he was chosen from the very beginning. And the water, of course, the flowing waters. And how would he get the people out to the parting of the Red Sea? Water. I found that very I find that very interesting.
Yeah, water seems to be a big rescuer,
A big
part
rescue.
of rescue.
And I love that. Beautiful.
What else do I have?
Well, so now he would have been raised alongside all of the. He would have enjoyed all of the splendors.
So he would have been like in a kingdom. He would have been an Egyptian prince. Would he be considered?
He would have
a
been
prince?
the next in line for Pharaoh.
Wow.
Remember, he would have been the next in line. All he had was daughters. He did not have any male heirs. So all he would have had was Moses.
Wow.
And Moses would have been the next heir to the throne.
That's crazy.
He'd have been the next Pharaoh. So he'd have enjoyed all of the splendor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then Moses grows up, and somehow he realizes he's a Hebrew and not an Egyptian. They tell him?
Yeah, they tell him.
Okay.
Yes.
And he sees one of these Egyptian taskmasters, slave masters, beating up a fellow Hebrew. So he kills the man and hides him in sand.
But he looked in front, he looked behind, but he didn't look above. And we know when we don't look above, we know he sees all.
Yeah. So he thought he was being a sneaky sneak.
Sneaky sneak.
And he buried the body in the sand.
Yes.
The next day, 2 Hebrew people were fighting, and Moses goes to intervene and stop it. And they're like, "Who are you asking me to not hit my neighbor? What did you do yesterday to the Egyptian man?
Didn't you kill him?
Didn't you kill him?"
When he realized, he knows, which means Pharaoh's going to find out.
Right.
Soon after.
So he runs and he hides in the land of Midian.
And he 125 miles away from where he would have been probably a straight run, scared out of his mind, because he knows what Pharaoh, he would have been raised and he would have known exactly the punishment.
Yes.
So 125 miles he ran, totally away from it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he goes to this land of Midian, and he finds 2 women.
7. There was 7 sisters.
Okay, 7 sisters, and they're watering their sheep.
They're watering their sheep, and they were chased away from the local men in the village.
That's right.
And Moses happened to see it, and he went and defended these women.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, he got the water for them and gave it to them.
And gave it to the sheep.
And gave it to the sheep and helped the women. Yes.
Yeah. So then the daughters invite him to go back to their house.
After the father, they go back. They tell the father, but the father. He goes, this man came and defended you, and you didn't even invite him over as payment for a thank you. So please bring him, and that's meat. Because think about it. This is a man with 7 daughters looking for a man like Moses.
Yeah.
He's looking for a man like Moses for one of his girls. So this is, of course,
go get him again.
Go get him again, exactly.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah. So he comes back, and he gets one of the daughters, and then they have a child together.
They have a child together. And the name means in a foreign land, a foreigner.
Right. It was from sojourner.
Sojourner, but it would have meant foreigner in the foreign land.
Right.
Because biblical names do mean, and he was basically he is. Moses was a foreigner in a foreign land, so he gave his son the name.
And it says our name is our virtue, and that's very true. Angel Adon means like an angel of the morning, a new angel. What am I?
And Michelle Renee, it means hearing God, talking to God.
Right.
And then the messenger.
What happens now?
Right, exactly.
Your name's your virtue. Look it up. What is it?
What is
it true for you?
Exactly.
Probably
interesting. Put it on the bottom of the YouTube, see?
Right. So I thought it was interesting. So Moses kind of now becomes like a shepherd.
He's a shepherd now, and he's working for his father-in-law. And you have to remember, he does not want nothing to do with Egypt. He's done with Egypt, and he would have been considered now an ex-con. And he has aged considerably. So by the time God calls him, he's 80 years old. Yeah. And how many times have we think we're safe in a spot. We think we've ran away from our problems. We think that, everything's good, but we're not. We know we're destined for better, but we're hiding from this destiny. We know there's something better. And all of a sudden, God, hello.
I'm in a bush.
I'm in a bush.
It's burning a bush. It's at the foot of the mountain.
A thorn bush.
Was it Horeb?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And as a thorn bush now is also representation of what did God say he was going to bring after Adam and Eve ate from the tree. He was going to bring thorns upon. And what did they put on Jesus' head?
Wow.
Thorns. Huh. So, representation. Yes.
So Moses sees this bush on fire but not being consumed.
Exactly.
It kind of blows his old mind.
Yes.
And then he hears Moses, and he's like, here I am.
Yeah, but you imagine.
Right?
Yeah.
Who the F is talking to me?
Oh, I have to admit, I'm an archangel.
Knows my name?
Archangel deity, but I have to admit, like,
And God says, don't come any closer. Take off your sandals. You are on holy ground.
Yes, and so of course he did.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. You listen.
And God tries to explain to him the task that God wants for him to do, to go back to Egypt, to go back to the Pharaoh.
But he is not happy to hear this, and he tries to make excuses.
Right.
He's like,
have you guys done that?
I'm sure you haven't.
Probably.
You're watching this, you haven't done it.
Probably.
No.
He says to go back to Egypt, convince Pharaoh to let his people go.
And he says, but my voice, I stutter. And he says, but didn't I give you the voice? So, okay, come up with a better one.
Right, what else you got?
And I'm an old man. What else have you got?
What else have you got? Right.
So,
he's with you. God said, I'm with you. He says, I will bring my people to the promised land, the land of lush milk and honey.
The land that he had promised to Abraham, Canaan, is what he had promised Abraham all them years ago, all that 400 years ago, that promise. And he even said in the promise to Abraham that people would be exiled.
Yes.
Everything would be happening. And I believe if you look at the bigger meaning here, it's to make them truly appreciate.
Yes.
Appreciate what's going to be given to them.
Yes.
We don't appreciate unless we've been through some darkness.
Yeah.
And we know, and then when God comes and he does all these, when we get to the plagues, to show his true power.
Right.
To say, this is what I can do.
To wake you up.
To wake you up.
Wait, like you're not listening, you're in slavery, you don't seem to see it. You're crying for help, he's rescuing you. You have to see it though.
You have to see it, like the burning bush as well. There's probably been, everybody's probably had that particular moment he has spoke to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, and everybody's had these moments. And if you haven't, you will have these moments. If you've in the human experience, the door is going to knock. You're going to have the experience. But Moses, by this point, and I also want you to notice Moses' position. Ex-con. I keep saying this because I want people to realize
God's not using a righteous man for this.
Right. He's an older man, and by now he would have been considered like outcasted from society.
Yes.
Egyptians would have totally outcasted him. His whole family would have outcasted.
Right.
That's
Hebrews would have outcasted from everybody.
So he was isolating and hiding behind his father-in-law and his family. And he calls him to come here back to Egypt. He's scared. So he brought Aaron, his brother, to help him out, to make sure he had that backup.
Right.
Because you already know he would have already had Aaron planned. Because Aaron is coming down the hill. So he already had Aaron planned for this.
And God tells them, because Moses is like, how is anybody going to listen to me?
Right.
Right? And he's like, tell the people of Israel, I am sent you. The God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac and Jacob, sent me to you. He hears your cries and he is rescuing you.
He heard them.
He heard them.
Please. God heard the cries. God heard them. God promised Abraham this.
Yes.
He kept his word.
Yes, God keeps his promises.
He keeps his promises, and as well with Moses from the beginning, if we pay attention to Moses, he's a rescuer.
Yes.
They bring that up. He was rescued.
He was rescued.
From the beginning, he was rescued, but he rescued the 3 women, or the 7 women, the 7 women, he's rescued them. He rescued on the Egyptian, that he killed him, but he did rescue here.
Yep.
And he's just known as a rescuer. So this kind of in his title, like blueprint.
Right.
Notice our blueprint, there's something that kind of will call us. Well, rescue has always been calling him out. And it was a long time before he was called out again for it. So there could be a purpose that has not been called out to you just yet. Be patient, divine patience.
Yes.
He works all in divine timing.
Yes.
It's all in the beautiful, all the dark, in which you may be not seeing now. But if you look back at your life 20 years later, it's always wonderful to look back and you see, oh wow, I have actually, and people will often say how they got there was weird. Yes. I was guided here through my darkness, and I didn't know how I got.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And sometimes they don't even remember because it was so divine, they don't remember.
Right.
Like you girls rolling this was not even a thought maybe 10 years ago. This was not even a thought.
I was a computer programmer.
Yeah, she was
I didn't have
mom.
God in my life.
Exactly.
This wasn't on my path.
She worked at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. And you know the booth that she worked in? She didn't know this last day of her working. She worked there 7 years. She knew she had put her purpose in. You know, I think she knew. That's when we started kind of coming through to some degree. And she was hearing a bigger purpose. And she looked at the booth number, waiting for her boyfriend, David. and it said 11. All the numbers added to 11. She goes, this is, and that's how we all started.
Wow.
Was just through, because of the wonderful people there.
Yes.
They're very open people.
Yes.
And she learned how to be
Fun.
herself, and it was fun. She was a
Yes.
hawker. She yelled, "Come on here, take a look, try on some clothes." That was
They
it.
thought she was drunk all the time.
Yeah, David's sister had to give her like something to make it look like she was drinking. And now you think about it, who's really coming out?
For real. We knew who the drunk was in
It
there.
was really me. I was the drunk. Or it was probably Loki. One of the two of us was coming out, and Marcus,
Yeah.
because we were all, there. But that's, and because Michelle said that all makes sense now,
Yeah.
is that. So, but that's how her beginnings, but she would have never thought this was a thing.
Right.
And God got introduced when with Ellie, with what happened to her, and that's where she started paying attention. So none of this is all like divine.
Yes.
All of this right here is divine. So
And it is hard for us to do this.
it is very hard. I asked her, as a matter of fact, I channel through her. How do people take me? And I know you think, well, she's an energy. You just don't care about that. When I'm channeling a human, that takes on a whole other aspect to me.
Yeah.
Because what we want to do is get the message across without people. I don't want people to go, well, it's his ego.
Right.
And you have to do it like this. This is how the divine wants the message to be.
Right.
This is all supernatural. This is how he gives messages. The burning bush. The 10 plagues he gave. I mean, you got to think about these in respects. He does supernatural things
Yes.
to get you to see. And I'm here as a messenger for him, for the I am.
Yes.
For the I am.
I am sent us.
I am sent us. The three
Yes.
of us. And
Yes.
to help however we can help. But this is in God is supernatural.
Yes.
And Moses, look at Moses. And he's a wonderful example. As a matter of fact, they got him as one of the top leaders, and certain, it's like Jewish, have him as one of the number one
Yeah.
leaders, Moses.
And he was a guide. He was shepherd. He was shepherding God's people
Yes.
to freedom.
And he would have got all that experience and his beginning at Pharaoh, growing with Pharaoh.
Yeah.
So he'd have already had some kind of experience with leadership from the beginning, because if he's going to be the next Pharaoh, he'd have had been training
Yes.
for it, and he would have known everything. So when you fast forward, when God asked him, well, he already had the training. It was just bringing it back up, and then you're given a staff that can turn into a snake. Come on, that would be very great right about now. That would be wonderful to have something like that now.
Right. God was
So-
trying to show Moses, like, I know when we first started, I'm like, how are people going to even believe us?
Right.
So Moses is there. How is anybody going to believe me? And he's like, well, you've got a staff, don't you? And bang it on the ground and it turns into a snake. And he's like, grab it by the tail and it turns into a staff again.
Exactly.
And Moses is like, I'm not sure. And he's like, stick your hand in your coat. Stick his hand in his coat, pulled it out. He's got leprosy. What? God's like, put your hand back in your coat. And it's gone. It's healed. He's like, I'll take these things with you to show people. Like, suck it up. Grow some balls. Let's do this, Moses.
Come on,
Let's
Moses.
do this, Moses.
That's the last thing he wanted to hear.
Right. He didn't want to go
80
back.
years old. 80. I've lived my life.
Right.
I have my wife. I have my son. I have my father-in-law. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good being a shepherd. I do not need to go back.
And he's about to go shepherd a bunch of complaining people.
And they're not going to appreciate
not
absolutely
gonna appreciate
nothing. But that's our other video.
Right.
We will get into all of that, which looks like the wonderful, but it turns into,
It's a lot of hardship.
but made by them from complaining,
Right.
and they never got to see the promised land,
Right.
just due to complaining.
Yeah.
And how many times have we complained and missed the promised land and
Yeah.
wandered around for 40 years?
Right.
But our children got to see the promised land, but we
Yes.
didn't see it.
This is supposed to be our promised land.
This
We've
is our
got to wake
promised
up
land.
to it. We got to choose it. We
Yes.
keep saying you got to choose this stuff. You have to choose it.
You
You have to
wake
walk
up.
with Moses, walk with Jesus, walk with God.
Walk with the greats.
Mm.
Walk with the greats.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot by when you just read the leaders, everything they've went through. You read about Adam and Eve, what they've went through. And then you read and you go through Abraham and him and Sarah. Everything happened with the babies. And then you had Jacob. Everything happened with Jacob. He lied constantly, but he was Israel.
Yeah.
So God does not. So if you notice, God was not looking at their their little check sheet. Okay,
Right.
well, if He did that, we would not have
Right.
great
He's not
people leaders.
Santa.
No, He's not Santa. He is. He's looking not on your heart. What is
Yes.
your heart? He knows when you come here. It's just there's choices. There's free will.
Yeah.
So He knows there's choices. So look at the leaders that we've had. And look, and anybody can be a leader.
Look deep at them.
Look
What's
deep
their
at them.
character showing you?
Right.
Are they holding people down or lifting people up?
Yes.
Are you listening to people that are telling you truth about that person? Are you listening to people that are telling you lies about that person?
To get you to go follow a particular.
A lot of people can tell you someone's divine and someone's of God, but their character will show you otherwise. You need to listen and look at someone's
Discernment.
character.
It's
yes,
called discernment. It's called
Ask God
discernment.
for discernment. He will give it to you. He will show you someone's true character so you can see it truthfully without having bindings of deception.
And this is Loki coming through. And that's important for
Yes.
to do that. You need to open your eyes, and if it doesn't feel right, like if you go on your medias, and if it don't feel right, then it's probably just not the energy. What it is the energy clashing, your energy and that
Yes.
energy, and you're just feeling it's off.
Yes.
And that's just a warning sign. So
Yes.
listen to this warning
Listen.
sign. Your vibration is a good warning sign.
Yes.
So listen to your the vibrationals that you're picking
Yeah.
up. If something don't feel right, or and everybody's had this where you feel you've been at the wrong place, or you feel you need to get out. That is as well vibration. You're feeling an off vibration somewhere,
Yeah.
messing with your vibration. And
Right.
it means you really need to get out of there. Find
Yeah.
something not going to be good here. As you know from experience, when we haven't listened, what has happened.
Right.
And that, and even when I've had at Atlantis and things like that, no free will, but I felt, see, the vibration. We all felt.
Right. You could feel it.
You couldn't stop the vibration. We all felt it. You're
Yeah.
doing this, but we're feeling this falling apart type. And a lot of people feel that they feel that they have no free will. They don't have choices. But trust me that He has given you choices,
Yes.
and He has given that. Having no choice is a lot different feeling. You will
Yeah.
feel very pulled down. You have choices, and you can make that decision but you can do that.
Yeah.
So Moses, like you go through the Moses thing. I mean, he probably felt when God came in this burning bush, he's trying to dodge the whole thing, but he felt the vibration. It was the right thing
Yes.
to do, even though he was trying to fight it, his ego.
Right.
Every part of him trying to fight it. He probably vibration he felt. My people need me, and I need to.
Yes.
Because he's a rescuer.
Yeah.
He knows to go and help and rescue. I felt that before.
Yeah.
I felt pulled to rescue as well.
I feel pulled to rescue. That's why we're doing
Yes.
these videos.
That's what Lokaous,
Yes.
Marcus, me, you,
Yeah.
her children, your children. They all feel these needs to rescue people
Yeah.
from things. Your daughter wants to start a club,
Yes.
and I felt in high school to help people.
Yeah.
So it is very encouraging for everybody. Just
Yeah.
make it a better world for everybody.
We're supposed to lend a helping hand,
You're supposed
not
to.
push anybody down.
No,
Mm.
and I can tell you that's not. I mean, I do it, but it's funny.
Stop it.
Probably not, but I'll bring Lokaous back because we're probably not wanting to hear all of it. But I'll bring him back as yes, he can. Yes,
He's unconditionally loved. So that's what we have for Moses so far.
that's what we have for Moses. So the next part is going
Yeah.
to be talking about how the 10 plagues
Yep.
and Pharaoh's hardened heart
Yes.
and the people wandering around.
Yes.
We're going to talk about, and poor Moses having, and then
Yes.
because of all
And
of
poor
this,
Aaron.
poor Aaron, poor Moses,
Yeah.
his sons,
Yes.
and we're going to find out that they didn't have just a walk in the park.
Right.
And then Moses never got to see the promised land
Right.
because of trying to play God.
Yeah.
Because probably, but we'll go into that
Yes.
next video.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn in this. I
Please.
love it.
Yeah, take notes, listen.
Yeah. We love you. Know you were unconditionally
Oh,
loved.
you most definitely are.
Remember, everything is beautiful.
It is most, oh, look at that.
All beautiful.
It is all beautiful. Embrace it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it, even the sweaty boob sweat.
Oh yeah, we're all sweating through
sweating
sweat
through
over
sweat.
here. So know we love you,
Unconditionally,
Unconditionally.
100% love you.
and we will see you in our next video.